Now at 6, pause extended. The New York shutdown stretches another month. The new protection measure set to take effect to keep bending the curve. Plus,
I recommend that nobody puts their loved ones in this facility.
Nursing home horror. The state investigation now being launched after more than a dozen bodies are found piled up in a makeshift morgue.
Plus, golf course controversy, the loophole that has golfers hitting the links during the state shutdown. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Natalie Pascarella.
And I'm Chuck Scarborough. Right now we're waiting for President Trump. He is about to speak at the White House, hold a news conference there with his coronavirus task force, announcing the federal guidelines to reopen the economy. This is going to be a three-phase plan, putting much of the power in the state governor's hands. We'll take that news conference as soon as it happens. In New York, Governor Cuomo extended the state's shutdown order, or pause, until at least May 15th, starting tomorrow. Everybody 2 and older will be required to wear a face covering when they can't social distance, and that now includes for-hire vehicles. The virus has punched a $2.7 billion hole in New York City's budget, forcing the mayor to make some tough decisions. And this comes as the number of confirmed cases in New York rose by 8,500 in the past 24 hours. There were 606 more COVID-19 related deaths. But there is hope as hospitalizations and ICU admissions keep falling. The number of confirmed cases across the tri-state is now more than 313,000. The number of deaths, 16,681. News 4's Andrew SIFF is live at Columbus Circle with the new impacts this virus is having on New Yorkers. Andrew?
Chuck, a very empty Columbus Circle. This just in from City Hall. The mayor has canceled all permitted events for the month of May. That includes the Brooklyn Half Marathon May 16th, which had thousands of registered runners. So this is extending for a very long time, and this on a day when just a couple of hours ago there was an unusual sounded tribute to those who've lost their lives who work for the MTA. From subway conductors to Amtrak engineers, to bus drivers, transit workers paid tribute to 68 colleagues killed by coronavirus. Some New Yorkers joining in.
I sound the horn for those transportation heroes at the MTA.
That salute part of an alarming landscape, frozen in place at least through May 15th.
1 month, we'll continue the close down policies. What happens after then, I don't know. We will see, depending on what the data shows.
The governor's order despite a reduction in new coronavirus infections and hospitalizations. And we asked the mayor why now for new rules on mandatory masks, just when the crisis seemed to be improving. Is that not a mixed message for New Yorkers?
No. This is a disease that has thrown us curveballs before, can throw us curveballs again. In fact, this is exactly the time to double down.
The mayor even extending his restriction on public gatherings into the summer. Public pools will be closed, saving the city $12 million. And no plan to have lifeguards at beaches, with no scenario to allow big crowds at the shore.
At least they could leave this open because it's good for our mental sanity at this point.
Meanwhile, the economic toll has reached a new milestone, a 95% drop in ridership on railroads and subways. The MTA now estimates a nearly $8 billion hit from the pandemic.
With ridership so low, raising fares would accomplish nothing.
On a Zoom call, I asked if key projects may be scrapped. Is the signal modernization of the subways now essentially off the table?
In every scenario, signal modernization will be a first-order priority.
And the mayor's office said they'll make a decision on June large events by the end of this week. The city also making 11,000 hotel rooms available free to those with coronavirus who need space to quarantine but don't need hospitalization. We're live in Columbus Circle. Andrew SIFF, News 4 New York.
All right, Andrew, thank you. Let's get to some big news coming out of New Jersey tonight. Schools in the Garden State will now stay closed until at least May 15th. The state has not hit the apex or a plateau. In 24 hours, we've learned of more than 4,000 new cases and sadly 362 more deaths. News 4's Chris Glorioso live in Andover tonight with this nursing home death controversy. Chris.
Well, we are live just about a mile down the road from the Andover subacute long-term care facility. This is the biggest of its kind in New Jersey. and it has some of the biggest problems among nursing homes in New Jersey, and that's saying a lot. On Monday, police began helping remove what they say were 17 bodies that had piled up in the on-site morgue. The governor called that outrageous, but the co-owner of the facility said this should be blamed simply on a ruthless pandemic that played out over a holiday weekend.
It sounds like it's spreading like wildfire in the facility.
Florida's Glenn Tomasino is desperate to know about his brother Matthew, a resident of the Andover subacute care facility. After reports of dozens of COVID deaths, Tomasino has been calling to find out if Matthew is healthy, but so far, no answers.
I did get through to his social worker about a week ago, and I was a little disturbed when I had that conversation because she was venting to me, stating that they didn't have the tools necessary working at the facility that they needed.
We are outraged by this. This is completely unacceptable.
Governor Murphy now calling for a state attorney general investigation after local police said the bodies of 17 COVID patients were found in the Andover facility over the weekend. The facility co-owner, Chaim Scheinbaum, issued a statement saying there were never more than 15 bodies in the facility and partly blamed holiday weekend issues for the inability to remove them more quickly.
Before he got sick, he was like a real family man.
Barbara Hansen says her grandfather, a 73-year-old retired truck driver, died after contracting COVID in the Andover facility. She questions whether ownership was properly staffed and prepared for the pandemic.
You know, that money that they're getting for every patient being in there, that should go for supplies and equipment that they need to take care of their patients.
We're not pleased with what is going on at the Andover facility.
The state health department has deployed a team to try and help the Andover facility grapple with coronavirus. Remember, this is 2 buildings with more than 670 beds across those 2 buildings. And even right now, we're told more than 100 residents have coronavirus diagnoses. That's not to mention more than 50 staff members who are expressing flu-like symptoms. There are still major problems there. One caretaker took to social media pleading with the public not to blame the healthcare workers inside for all of this. She said they're just doing the best they can. Reporting live in Sussex County, Chris Glorioso, News 4 New York.
All right, Chris, thank you. Connecticut Governor Ned Lamont says it would be dangerous to reopen businesses without broad-based testing. The number of confirmed cases in the state jumped by more than 1,100 in the past day. The number of deaths in Connecticut has risen to 971. Governor Lamont held a briefing this afternoon.
We're thinking as well in terms of how we open up our state in a very thoughtful way that puts our folks at the least risk, mitigates the risk of a second surge in this, and make sure our seniors can stay safe.
Well, today, Governor Lamont also announced that the PGA's Travelers Championship would be played in Cromwell without fans. It'll be held at TPC River Highlands from June 25th to June 28th. Natalie?